Cool. All right, great. Okay, here we go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Cross. I am, if you can go over the next slide. We're going to be talking about Google Apps for Education today. It's a really exciting session. I hope that you'll learn a lot of new things today. So even if you think you know a little bit about Google, hopefully I can introduce you to at least a few new things today. Just a little bit about me before we get started. I teach third grade at HB Williams in White House, Tennessee. So just right up the road. I've also taught first grade in the past. I am currently a doctorate student in learning technologies at Pepperdine University. So this is my career goal. I love doing this. I am a Google certified teacher and a 2012 Star Discovery educator. So love Google especially. All right, next slide. So today I'd like to start out with Google Drive. So if you are not familiar with Google Drive, I just want you to be aware that Google has a whole suite of apps out there where you can do surveys, presentations, documents, forms, and you can work collaboratively on these. So this is really exciting because it means that you and an educator in Kentucky, or let's say you and an educator that's out on maternity leave, can get together and you can collaborate, you can type on one document, or you can have 50 people at a time working on one document, which gets a little crazy, but it can be done. So if you want your students, you can use Google Apps for Education, which is a free service, and get your students signed up for that. And then let's say you've got high school students, you can get all of your kids on here, and you can have them working collaboratively on a document or turning things in. Next slide. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is actually how to do this. Raise your hand if you have a Gmail account. All right, great. You are pretty much all set up. So the first thing that you need is a free Gmail account. If you don't have one, you can very easily go to Gmail, sign up. They are free. From there, you are going to click where it says Drive in the top corner, and then you'll see this slide right here. So I'm going to actually step over. It has where it says Create, and when you click that, you will get some options here. You can create different things. You can create, again, let's go to the next slide. Let me show you some of these things. Forms. I love using forms. Basically, a form is a survey. So you can create questions. Now think about this. You can do this with assessments. You can do this just to get general information, or you can do this kind of for fun. We do a lot of surveys in my class, and I will either link them to my class website or embed them on my blog. And so my kids can go, and they'll just see this, just the really pretty thing. So for here, we were actually doing a glyph, but we were making this where we could just go online and kind of incorporate in that digital component. Next slide. So when we get the results, the students just go through, they answer some quick questions, and then we have graphs. And so now we can talk about math with it, and I love that because it's so simple and easy. With just a few clicks, now we have data that we can work with. So this is one screen, one format. Next slide. But this is the back end of it. You can actually still have a spreadsheet layout, so you can have both of those very, very easily. So those are forms, and I love those. Very, very useful. Next slide. Okay, so some ideas for forms. What are you going to do with it? Okay, great. You've got a form. Why do you need this? Use it with the students. Give them a QR code. They could scan the code, and that could upload the survey, or you could, like I said earlier, link the survey to your class website. We use these in my school for Teacher of the Year nominations. So I make the form. It's very simple and easy. I list out all the people that are nominated that year, basically all the people that are eligible for Teacher of the Year, and then we send it out to everybody, and then this is how we do our Teacher of the Year nominations. We also use it with our staff to easily decide where we want to go for things like the Christmas party, our annual staff Christmas party. Where are we going to go? It's an easy way to get feedback from all of your faculty there. Also, you could use it at professional development, like to find out skill levels. Let's say it's a reading professional development, but we want to find out kind of where everybody is on guided reading, how they feel about using the skills and strategies. So this is something that the form could easily give you that information, and again, you could have that data up front. Next slide. All right, again, this is just a picture of what I was talking about earlier. This is my class website, it's our blog, and here we have the Apple survey. So every year with Johnny Appleseed Day, this is one of the things that they do. They go and they take the survey using Google Forms. Next slide. Keep going. All right. This is probably one of my favorite things that I've done this year. It has been absolutely amazing. It's called Google Voice. In the past, I have not freely issued my telephone number, but I've given it to a couple of parents. I've kind of guarded with that. And I had a lady calling me at midnight. I was really frustrated about that. Like even, we talk about these things, but parents sometimes just really abuse these privileges. Google Voice is your perfect solution for this because, first of all, it's free. What it does is you go to google.com/voice and you sign up. And again, it's very simple and free and easy. And what it does is it actually gives you a local telephone number, so it still looks like that you're giving them a local number. But they can call, they can leave a message on this number, okay? They can text you at this number, and it will send you an email that has the text in it, which I love. Also, they can call and leave voicemails, and it will transcribe them for you and send it to you in an email, which is amazing because I can be doing something else. A parent can call and leave a voicemail, and it will pop up on my phone, and so I can see what they said in the voicemail without ever having to open it or stop or leave what I'm doing. So I think this is a very, very powerful tool. Also, what I do is I go, there's an app for it, or you can go to the website, either one. You type in the parent's number that you would like to call, and it will ring. You can have it where it will ring your mobile phone. So it actually calls my cell phone first. As soon as I say hello, it starts dialing theirs. So it's blocking the number. So I'm not walking up to the office because we have one line right now at our school, one line for all the teachers to share. You have to go to the teacher's lounge and have your conversation with the parent in front of everybody, and it's just not fun. So this is your solution. It's called Google Voice. It's free. You can send them text messages from this number. It's amazing. So Google Voice has been my big takeaway for this year, something that I've really, really used. Next slide. All right, go back just one slide. This is actually not a Google product, but it kind of goes hand in hand with the Google Voice. Remind 101 allows you to send out mass text messages, and then they can't respond to it. So you can text message all of your students, hey, homework assignment due tomorrow, don't forget to bring in your project. They can't respond to you, okay? And it also keeps up a record of everything. So if there ever was any, oh, you were doing inappropriate things, you have a record of everything that's been, that's happened. So Remind 101, not a Google service, but I think very helpful as well. Next slide. Next, I would like to talk about Google Hangouts. I still hear a lot of educators talking about doing video chats, and they use Skype, okay? Skype is great, but it can't do this. Next slide. Skype is not collaborative like this. I can take my smartboard and I can draw on it and a video chat with a class from Germany, and they can add to this, but not just drawing. I was talking to my table this morning. I had a math lesson where I taught, and my mom, she is an educator in Mississippi, and so she teaches special ed students in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and we co-taught a lesson together on multiplication, and then we also did one on fractions, and it was amazing because I could write on the board, and her students in Mississippi could see what I was writing, and then they could come up and ask questions, and we could talk about it, and we could see each other. At the bottom you can see very small, where you can see those classes, but you can also switch that around. Next slide. So this is actually a clip of her class. That's her student talking to my students. Next slide. In addition to that, there's a lot of positive reinforcement. It's just fun. There's so many extra add-ons, like silly things like pirate hats and scuba masks. So it can really be a positive reinforcement. So this is great for those kids that you really want to engage. When we're doing Hangouts, total engagements. My students, I have a hard time actually keeping them like seated. They are literally on the edge of their chair. They're trying to get closer. They're leaning in. So Google Hangouts, very exciting for the kids. Next slide. Another application of this is a mystery video chat. So if you're teaching about geography, and you can have your class chat with another room that you kind of set up in advance, and you can have them try to figure out where the other class is from. So you could start out with, what continent are you on? What country? Are you a rural setting? Are you an urban setting? Things like that. And so they're using all of that vocabulary and really using social studies to narrow down and try to figure out where the other class is from. Next slide. So if you're trying to figure out, okay, that's great, but how do I actually find another class to talk to? That's what this slide is all about. You can actually connect your class not only to other classrooms, but to scientists, authors, and other classes around the world. Get active on Twitter. And Adam Taylor, like she said earlier, is a genius at this, good friend of mine, and he's going to be doing a session on this, session 3, I do believe. So go to that if you're interested in learning more about Twitter. Also, you can use this for virtual field trips. There are sites like ePals. It's a free site where you can go and connect with other classes. And the Global Read Aloud. All the students read the same book in the month of October. It's Global Read Aloud. If you'll Google that, you can find it, no problem. So those are great ways to use this. You can also follow other educators on Google+. So that's a great way to get started as well. Next slide. All right, so let's look at how you can get started with Hangouts. You said, that's great. How do we do it? Okay. Again, you're going to need this free Gmail account. From there, you're going to click the plus in the upper left-hand corner and then click Start Hangout. Next slide. So this is what it looks like. From your Gmail account, this is just my Gmail. In the top right corner, there's a plus, and then there's my name. So you click that plus. Next. And then over here, it will bring you to this. This is my Google Plus page. From here, you click New Hangout, and you can see the list right here under that. Those are all the people that I've hung out with recently. So basically, anybody that you have on your Gmail account, it's very easy to just go and find their name and click them, and you can start a Hangout immediately. And it will send them a message on their phone if they have it enabled there, or their computer. You can do it on your iPad, so it goes across multiple devices, which is really nice as well. Next slide. I love Google Earth and Google Maps. These are very, very powerful tools for studying anything with the world. I would like to also talk about, a lot of people don't realize that you can go and visit, they call it the World Wonders Project. So you can go and visit all these places around the world and do these like 3D tours. Also, when I taught first grade, we were working on the compass rose, basic directions, north, south, east, and west. So we took a virtual field trip to Disney World, and then they had to navigate Disney World Park. And when they correctly navigated to a ride, there's a little short video clip in Google Earth, and it's so cool. So we would go and we would ride Space Mountain, and everybody put their hands up there, and woo, we're riding Space Mountain. It was a lot of fun. So this is through Google Earth. Also, use it for math. I pulled up the streets of Paris last year when I was teaching about angles. We're talking about acute angles, obtuse angles. So we pulled up the streets of Paris, and they had to go and find and trace on the smartboard acute angles, obtuse angles, things like that, right angles, and explain to me why that was each one. We color-coded them, and it was a really fun lesson. Holiday celebrations around the world are a lot of fun as well. So using the holidays and go and visit different countries. Next slide. Okay. I also just want you to be aware of these. I don't have a lot of time to get in depth into these today, but I want you to be aware that these exist. Google News Archive, if you will search for that, there's YouTube videos that will show you step-by-step how to do it. And basically, you can go and you can get newspaper articles back from like the day that Abe Lincoln was assassinated, and you can pull up the actual text. So a lot of people didn't realize that you can search and find these great primary documents, primary sources, through Google. It's called Google News Archive. It's very easy to use. Just put in your date and your key search terms. Very, very simple. So if you're interested in that, look that up a little bit more on your own. Also, you can, in advanced searching, you can find copyright, Creative Commons things, so that you can find pictures, videos, things that your students are allowed to use in their work that aren't copyright protected. Also, a lot of people don't realize these next two things I think are so cool. You can actually have Google customize where it searches by reading level, which is very amazing. Because again, I teach third grade. Honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't used it extensively with that. The last thing is you can create a custom search engine. And again, I love this because I teach elementary students, but you could use this at the high school. So let me explain to you what this means. The custom search engine means I could tell it, I only want you to search Time for Kids, Scholastic News, sites like that. So I could list like 3 sites that I want it to search, and then we could search volcanoes. And instead of all the Google searches on the internet where it pulls up everything, it only searches those sites that I told it to. And you can embed this in your blog or your class website. So we have our own personal customized search engine, and they're super easy to make. So that's another thing that I just want you to kind of be aware of. I don't have a time to show you all of that today, but you can just kind of check that on your own. Look up YouTube videos that will take you step by step through all of these things. Next slide. Chrome. The best browser. I'm a little biased. Now, I am an Apple person. I love all things Apple, but Chrome is by far my favorite browser. I like it because you can use it across all your devices, and it saves your passwords, which for me is really great because I've got a lot of passwords and a lot of usernames on every different device. And so I can go to a website on my phone, sign into Chrome. So you're just typing like your Gmail username and password, and then all of your passwords and bookmarks are saved. So that's the first thing. Also, you're working in the cloud. That's just really great. But even more so than that, I don't think a lot of people realize that you can use all of these apps for free on your computer. So you say, I don't have an iPad. My school has no money. I have a computer from 1990. I understand that. But even with an older computer, you can run Chrome, and you can go to the web store and get some of those apps that people are running on the iPad and run them on the computer through Chrome. Next slide. So the Chrome Web Store is like iTunes, but it's online. And they have a whole education section. So they have apps and extensions. Just to give you an idea, the extensions are the small pictures that are always in your browser. I'm going to point to these really quick. These are extensions up here. So like I have a Twitter extension. Things like that are up here. Apps are loaded on there where there's on my home page I have a list of apps, and they're not in my browser all the time. So when I go and check my Gmail, my apps don't show up. Okay? All right, next slide. So a couple of the apps that I just briefly want to talk about, like this one is Read and Write, and I think this is so useful for educators. You can import any document, okay, and then you can install the Read and Write extension. It's free, and it will read anything to you, okay? So this is really great because not all of the computers have the great accessibility features where it will read to you, but using the web store, as long as you have a Chrome browser, you can install this for free. Okay, click 2 times. One more time? Yeah. Okay, this one I like as well. I'm sorry, go back 1 slide for me. What one? I think there's something in between. Okay, keep going 1 more. Sorry, y'all. Uncon! All right. There are others where you can easily rewrite web page headlines with a simple click. So I really like this one as well because this one we can go to, like Scholastic News for Kids. We can pull up the latest news article and we can read the first paragraph, and then in our own words we can hit edit and we can actually type on the website. It makes a copy of it, basically makes a picture for us, but the kids don't realize what it's doing. So it looks like we're just going in and modifying the website. It freaks them out, by the way, the first time that you do this. But you could go to like Time and make yourself like Person of the Year and send the screenshot to your friends, which is kind of fun. But I use it for themes like we'll go to the website and we'll work on reading things. Like we'll go through and we'll summarize the first paragraph and type it out. Or we can go through and modify, and so we work on a lot of reading skills. So that's a Chrome extension as well. Next slide. Web page screenshot. That's what I was looking for. The name of it. The name of that is called web page screenshot. That's what I was trying to get to a second ago. All right, next slide. Okay, Google also has a link shortener. It's similar to Bitly, but just so that you know, Google has one as well. It's goo.gl, so you can put in any URL and it will shorten it down for you. So Google has one, just so that you're aware of that. You can also create QR codes from this with just 1 click. So I think that's really useful as well. I like this one a little bit better than Bitly because you can create those QR codes at the same time. You can just do both, which is really nice. Next slide. All right, Dio, for this one, it bookmarks across all devices, and I really like that you can highlight any text on any web page, and then you can also create tags. So you can have your notes, you can type in notes, like little sticky notes on web pages, and it saves them. So really great Chrome extension. So Chrome is Google's browser, okay, like Internet Explorer, Safari. Chrome is just another alternative to that. Next slide. All right. Any questions for me now? Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for the Google Chrome.
Yes.
That's something that we would have to go to Google to download.
Yes. Yes. If you'll just type in Google Chrome, it'll pull up a download right there. And again, you can put this on your phone, on your iPad, and on your computer. I have it on all my devices. It is my favorite browser. So it's an internet browser, but then you can add on apps as well. Any other questions?
I had Google, and then Google Drive.
Yes.
How did you say you get to Google Drive?
I'm going to actually re-upload these notes because I put in some screenshots. So I will send those to Hope so they'll be on the Ignite website because I took a couple of screenshots in there that I just did them like late, like midnight last night. So I will go through and add those to it, and they'll be on the website. Okay? All right.
I'll add on the social bookmarking because I
Yes.
use it also. It's great. You can get an educator account, and your kids can curate and collaborate into groups. So
Very
you can
nice.
create small groups where they're curating and adding notes and annotating the websites that they're going
Very
to.
cool. EduClipper is another site that Adam Bellow came out with, and it's a really great site. It's EDU Clipper, and that same kind of thing where your kids are curating content. It's like Pinterest, but for kids and for educational purposes. So it could be very useful there. Think about all the sites that they could go and have there. Any other questions? All right. Thank you guys so much for coming today. If you have any questions, come see me later on. Thank you.